Telco companies are hiding something from you. The fact is that over the last couple of years, technology in connectivity has improved in leaps and bounds, but they are not telling you about it. Why? Because the big players in the industry want to lock you into long-term contracts and make sure that they have time to catch up because they are so far behind. Darren Smith is joining me today all the way from the UK, from Milton Keynes. Darren, am I going to be censored from Facebook? Am I going to be accused of fake news? Have I just said something worrying? Darren, take it away, please.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you, Scott. It's a real pleasure to be here. I don't think you're going to be run out of town. There's no risk of that. But you're probably right. I mean, I think businesses at the moment aren't aware of the options that they have, and they tend to stick to the same nationwide carriers that they've always stuck to. And as a result, their options are very, very limited. And they're not aware of all of the options and the innovation that's out there. So by way of introduction, Opius, I think we consider ourselves as a connectivity integrator. So the vast majority of connectivity companies are very restricted in the services that they can provide. Opius is purely independent. So we can partner with any carriers globally that add distinct benefit to our customers. So we're completely unrestricted.
Okay, so now break down for us why that level of or lack of restriction is a benefit for the customer. Because in most of the big companies' mind, it's safety first. So starting to say, yes, I might be able to save a bit of money, possibly, maybe, there's still that kind of comfort level that they have. But what you're essentially saying, and in our conversation, I really want to dig down into this, is actually there's a big, big difference.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, let's take the UK, for example. So Openreach is the nationwide provider. However, on top of Openreach, there's lots of carriers that utilize their infrastructure. Unfortunately, people aren't aware of this. So if a business requires diversity, they believe they're getting diversity by going with British Telecom and maybe TalkTalk or Sky. However, unbeknownst to them, it's using the same fiber, the same ducting, going to the same POP. Okay, it terminates on different equipment, but essentially there's absolutely no diversity there at all. Through Opius, we have access to alternative carriers that have their own infrastructure, but also a whole range of alternative technologies, such as microwave wireless, mobile data solutions, low orbit satellite. So there's lots and lots of options that can add resiliency and redundancy to a business that they're just not aware of.
Now, we've seen this happening in the news, that outages have become a major problem. It's happening more and more often. And the other issue, of course, is that it happens when companies move premises. And how do they start renegotiating? And one of the terms that you used in the article, which is really good, by the way, is this concept of fiber hell, negotiating through fiber hell. Just take us through why these negotiations are normally notoriously difficult when dealing with the kind of main carriers versus so simple and easy when looking at alternative options.
Well, I guess it's really simple. So regardless of the carrier, they only have limited infrastructure. So even Openreach isn't everywhere. If a company's moving premises or opening a new site, they have to wait until that infrastructure is available if they stick with a single supplier. Through Opius, we've got a whole range of technologies that allow them to launch sites more effectively. For example, we've recently just launched a product called Opius IO for a very large global retail. It was conceived because they were really struggling to launch sites effectively on time. The actual solution itself is a rapid deployment mobile data box that consolidates multiple multi-net SIM cards into a single robust circuit. It just means that you can get up and running within a matter of days rather than weeks or months. From there, you can supplement and augment that functionality by adding additional services to it. So once a microwave wireless circuit or a lease line becomes available, you can plug it into the unit and then utilize exactly the same solution, but just at a faster speed, and providing your customers, so your internal employees, with a very seamless environment.
Okay, Darren, can you give us a few examples of where this has happened in the types of industries that kind of need this days within weeks to get up and running?
I think it really affects multiple industries. So any companies that are actually expanding their geographical footprint and they're opening new sites, this unit will allow them to get rapidly online, and then over the course of several months, they can evolve that solution to incorporate different technologies without actually interfering with the employee's experience, because everything will stay the same. The benefit as well of having an initial mobile data solution is that once you have fiber or wireless in place, it can revert to a business continuity solution or a tertiary circuit. So actually it's improving the resiliency of the site, and you've always got a connection option there if something actually goes down.
So Darren, how does this then connect with this concept of circuit as a service?
So circuit as a service is something that we had evolved from a former solution that we were providing. Essentially, companies require connectivity if they lose primary connectivity for any reason, or once again, if they need to launch a site. What we can do is parachute in a robust solution that gets even large operations up and running for several months. And then once they've finished with it, we will go back, decommission that solution, and then take all of the equipment away. So they can have it as long as they need it. We can preload it with data so that they're up and running instantly, and they've got that extra level of resiliency until their normal circuits or their permanent circuits are available.
Interesting. So also what's happening at the moment is you have this issue from migrating from MPLS to SD-WAN. And this can be a bit frustrating as far as I understand it, because of the time it can take and the contracts, et cetera, et cetera. Does your solution kind of fit in there and assist with this integration?
So it very much does, actually. So one of the issues that companies have got when extending their global footprint is if they're with an MPLS provider, they are strictly limited on the kinds of carriers and the kinds of technology that they can deploy. However, more and more now, we're seeing people migrate across to SD-WAN, and that enables you to actually utilize any type of commodity circuits, leased lines, microwave, or even mobile data solutions to bring new offices and new infrastructure online. It also means that literally you can launch sites and have them incorporated into your global network within a matter of days. Unlike the old way, which was actually waiting for a leased line by a specific provider to be installed before you could actually bring that office online effectively.
Very interesting. Okay. And then my last question to you is this whole issue around visibility. You know, a lot of the big carriers have been, what shall we say, the reporting on outages, et cetera, can be a little bit opaque. Yet, obviously, with new technology now, you can have your finger on the pulse. You can be in a lot more of control in terms of what's going on. Just talk us through the visibility aspect.
It's always been an issue within the industry, and actually it's kind of caused us to provide some transparent services that aren't really readily available elsewhere. Because we're not a carrier in its true sense, we are a connectivity integrator. We provide completely transparent visibility over the performance of all of our suppliers. So if there is an outage, for example, at a business, normally the carrier will defend their network before actually admitting that there's any form of issue. What we do is we provide a single pane of glass monitoring solution to all of our customers. And if there are any issues, they can instantly see exactly where they are. They can see where it's being caused, how long it's been an issue, and also they can then proactively see when it's coming back online.
It's absolutely this classic David and Goliath, isn't it? You've got these huge, big companies. You've got these little guys that can do a much better job, and it's just about getting into that and explaining it and getting in front of the customer. So, from an Opius perspective, tell us a little bit about you guys. I mean, when did you start? Why did you start? And a little bit about your story.
Opius was founded purely to try and provide transparency, cost-effective solutions, but more importantly, to provide options to customers, because as I say, most large businesses up until now really just stuck with the same providers and were limited severely by the services that they provide. Opius, partnering with us, gives you the ability to get access to a very comprehensive portfolio of carriers and vendors covering the full gambit of connectivity and connectivity services. So really anything that touches connectivity, from the actual circuits themselves, the management and administration, actually even the billing, we have solutions that completely cover every segment.
So Darren, just to finish off, in a post-COVID world where connectivity is king, how are businesses going to survive? How are they going to thrive? How are they going to take things to the next level?
Great question. I guess that's a huge subject, and I could talk on it for a very long time. But I guess 3 areas that I think companies need to consider. Firstly, how are they going to effectively manage connectivity that sits beyond the perimeter of their corporate network? How are they going to provide remote support staff with out-of-bands access that guarantees the integrity of their corporate infrastructures maintained? And how are businesses with internally hosted telephony going to provide high quality functionality to a geographically distributed workforce? And literally, we're working with companies today on those 3 topics, and they're becoming a very, very major concern for most businesses.
It certainly is. And it's a changing landscape all the time. And I really think that, the key takeout from today is this concept that, just going with a big carrier and leaving it at that is probably not the best option for any business. So once again, Darren, I really appreciate you chatting to me today. And thank you for joining me on scottcundill.com.
Thank you, Scott. It's been enjoyable.
Thanks, Darren. I'm going to put your details in the bottom. So listening to this, you'll be able to contact Darren. Just look in the description and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Awesome. Thank you.